The question was so simple, so ordinary, that no one in the crowded cafe paid attention, but for Noah Carter, it felt like the moment his carefully built world might quietly fall apart. "Is this seat free?" He looked up, his tired eyes meeting hers for the first time, and in that split second, he made a choice, to smile, to nod, and to hide everything. Before we step into their story, take a moment. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the quiet power of human connection, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Stories like this remind us that sometimes the smallest moments change everything. Noah had mastered the art of looking ordinary. Worn-out jeans, a faded gray hoodie, and sneakers that had seen better days, he blended perfectly into the background of everyday life in a small cafe in Portland, Oregon. To anyone watching, he was just another single dad trying to keep up with life, sitting across from his 6-year-old son, Oliver, who was carefully stirring a cup of hot chocolate with intense concentration. But what no one saw was the truth. Noah wasn't struggling. He was hiding. A few years earlier, his name had been quietly circulating in business magazines and tech circles. He had built a software company from nothing, sold it for millions, and then disappeared from that world without explanation. The headlines had speculated, burnout, scandal, personal tragedy, but the truth was simpler and heavier. After losing his wife, Hannah, to a sudden illness, the world he had built no longer made sense. Money couldn't bring her back. Success felt hollow. So he walked away, choosing a quieter life where he could just be dad. And that's how he ended up here, ordering cheap coffee, cutting corners, pretending to struggle so his son could grow up grounded, not entitled. Then she walked in. Clara Mitchell carried exhaustion like a shadow. Her auburn hair was tied loosely, strands falling around her face, and her eyes held the kind of quiet sadness that only came from fighting too many battles alone. She hesitated before approaching Noah's table, glancing at the empty chair. "Is this seat free?" Noah nodded, offering a polite smile, while inside he felt something shift, a faint, unfamiliar pull. Clara sat down, placing her bag gently by her feet, as if even that required effort. She wasn't looking for conversation. She just needed a place to sit, a moment to breathe. But Oliver, curious and kind in the way children often are, looked up and smiled at her. And just like that, silence turned into something else. Over the next few minutes, simple exchanges turned into something warmer. Clara laughed softly at Oliver's innocent stories, and Noah found himself watching her more than he intended. There was something genuine about her, something unpolished and real, and it made him lower his guard just a little. What he didn't know was that Clara was barely holding her life together. She worked 2 jobs, one at a bookstore, another at a diner, and still struggled to cover rent. Her younger brother, Ethan, depended on her after their parents passed away, and every day felt like a balancing act between responsibility and exhaustion. She had stopped expecting things to get better. Survival was enough. But that afternoon, something felt different. Maybe it was the way Oliver laughed, or the way Noah listened, not just hearing her words, but truly understanding them. It had been a long time since anyone had looked at her like that. Days turned into weeks, and somehow, without planning it, they kept meeting. The cafe became their place. Sometimes Clara arrived first, already sipping tea. Other times Noah and Oliver were there, saving her seat without saying a word. Conversations grew deeper, more personal. They shared stories, struggles, quiet dreams they had buried long ago. But Noah never spoke about his past. Every time Clara asked about his work, he kept it vague. Freelancing. Small projects. Nothing special. He avoided details, afraid that the truth would create distance, that she would see him differently, or worse, feel out of place. And yet, hiding it began to weigh on him. Because for the first time since Hannah's death, he felt something real again. Clara, too, was changing. The heaviness in her eyes began to lift, replaced by something softer, something hopeful. She started laughing more, dreaming again, allowing herself to imagine a life that wasn't just about surviving. But reality has a way of catching up. One evening, Clara didn't show up at the cafe. Noah waited longer than usual, Oliver growing restless beside him. Something didn't feel right. The next day, he returned, hoping to see her, but the seat remained empty. It wasn't until 3 days later that he found her again. Not at the cafe, but at the diner where she worked. She looked different, tired, distant, as if the light that had slowly returned to her had been dimmed again. When she saw Noah, her expression shifted, surprise, then hesitation, then something close to embarrassment. That's when he noticed the bruise on her wrist. Not from harm, but from pressure, from being pulled too hard by life itself. She finally told him everything. The rent was overdue. Her brother needed school supplies she couldn't afford. Her second job had cut her hours. She was on the edge, and no matter how hard she tried, it felt like she was slipping. Noah listened in silence. And for the first time, hiding the truth felt wrong. That night, he made a decision. The next day, Clara received a call. It was about a job. A better one, at a publishing company that just happened to be looking for someone with her exact skills. Flexible hours, fair pay, and opportunities she had never imagined possible. She was confused, overwhelmed, unsure how this had happened. But Noah knew. What she didn't know was that he had quietly made one phone call, using connections he had long avoided. He didn't want recognition. He didn't want credit. He just wanted to help her stand again. But secrets don't stay hidden forever. Weeks later, Clara found out. Not from Noah, but from someone else who recognized him, who casually mentioned his name and past as if it were common knowledge. The truth hit her like a storm, everything he had hidden, everything he had pretended not to be. And suddenly, it all made sense. The calm confidence. The quiet generosity. The way doors seemed to open at just the right moment. She felt hurt. Not because he was wealthy, but because he hadn't trusted her with the truth. When she confronted him, Noah didn't defend himself. He didn't justify his choices. He simply told her the truth, that he had been afraid. Afraid of being seen differently, of losing something real, of turning another genuine connection into something complicated by money and status. He told her that with her, for the first time in years, he felt like just a man again, not a millionaire, not a success story, not a headline. Just Noah. Silence followed. Heavy, uncertain. But then Clara spoke. She told him that she never cared about money, that all she wanted was honesty. That what mattered wasn't who he had been, but who he chose to be now. And in that moment, something shifted again. This time, not quietly, but deeply. Their story didn't become perfect overnight. Trust takes time. Healing takes patience. But they chose to try, to rebuild, to move forward, to create something honest and real. Noah stopped hiding. Clara stopped fearing the future. And Oliver, in his innocent way, simply smiled, because to him, everything already felt right. If this story touched your heart, take a moment to like, share, and comment. It helps stories like this reach more people who need a little hope. And before this story ends, here's something special. Comment below and tell us, do you believe love should come with honesty from the start, or can truth find its way later? Because sometimes, life doesn't give us perfect beginnings. But it gives us second chances. And sometimes, all it takes is a simple question: is this seat free? To change everything.